Alright, what the hell's up, boys? Happy Monday. Today is November 17th. Before we get into anything, I just want you to look at my roof well, though. This shit is fire, son. Anyways, let's get into the charts. Yeah. If you guys watch the video, comment W or Velto. Okay. Took one trade today. Was a dub. Missed my original entry. I woke up hella late. As you guys can see, I'm still half naked with a blanket around my back and fucked up hair. So, did wake up late today. It is what it is. I stayed patient and I ultimately ended up finding my my setup. So coming into this morning, before we get into the inversion setups, because there was two possible setups you could have took, and I took one of them. So coming into this morning, I noticed one thing. So off rip, I noticed we were inside of this daily for value gap and we were currently respecting it. And also I noticed that when 9:30 opened, we came and swept out this intermediate low inside of this bullish 4-hour gap. So I kind of didn't, I had like a neutral bias coming into this morning, but I was leaning just a little bit more bullish up and towards London highs. And then I told myself, okay, once London highs get hit, we can either are going to chop around or then we can see that final like reversal move or continuation on like the daily time frame move. So that was what I was looking for. So I was bullish up until about like London high-ish. So yeah, and then also at 9:30 open, we came down and swept these intermediate 1-hour lows. We also tapped in this hourly gap, and my condition was this 1-hour gap right here. So I said, okay, if we can come up and inverse this gap, I'll then be looking for longs. So, and that's exactly what we did. We ended up inversing that gap. But before we did that, let's get into this real quick. Right at 9:30 open, I missed this setup because I was too busy sleeping. We had all this LRL built up. We had this unfilled hourly all the way up here. And we also had this unfilled hourly as well, the one I just talked about getting inversed. Where's that? So let me just mark it out real quick. So we had this unfilled hourly as well. What we did on market open, we manipulated lower into those intermediate lows on the hourly and the 4-hour, and we also came and filled this 5-minute for value gap right over here to the left of us. So as you guys can see, we came down, hit that perfectly, got a instant rejection. Actually, let me leave that up so you guys can see. We got an instant rejection out of it. I'm sure there was a 30-second somewhere in here. I like to take the highest time frame leg. So like say we have like 2 1-minutes and then 1 2-minute, I'll take the singular 2-minute. However, in this sense, I think it was on Friday this happened as well. We manipulated lower and then seen an instant rejection off. So if we get 2 candles like this, and there's like a 3-minute gap like right here and this candle's still functioning, I really don't necessarily care about this 3-minute gap, because these 1-minute candles that just flew right through everything right here, it's telling me, okay, we're gonna be bullish for the time being. So you guys could have either entered off of this one right here, which I personally would have. I'm just going to be completely honest with you guys. I personally would not have entered off of that solely for the fact that we still had multiple. Now, once I seen this one right here, I would have entered off of this candle. So my trade idea would have looked something like this. My stops would have been just below this 1-minute for value gap, just in case we want to come down. Well, that's still a 70-point stop. So realistically, probably under here. This is in my eyes a breakaway gap, and then my TP would be set to TP1 is this first unfilled hourly, and then TP2 would be this second unfilled hourly all the way up here. And if we ended up taking this, I know some people took this, everything would have got hit beautifully. So this is what your trade idea would have looked like. TP1 would have been this first unfilled hourly, and then TP2 would have been that second one all the way up there. So that looked really good. Again, I logged onto the market somewhere like at like 9:32ish, so the price was right here. I missed that setup. I was still trying to determine my bias. It is what it is, and I ultimately ended up staying patient. So even though we inversed this 1-hour for value gap to the upside, I was like, okay, what do we have lower? Because ultimately my target was London highs, right? So I was trying to look for a continuation towards that, and I was like, okay, well, what did we just tap into right here? I was like, well, we just hit this hourly up here, right? That was our TP2 for our first trade. And then we also hit a unfilled 15-minute gap. And when we hit those, I like to see how price reacts off of those. If we start just displacing through them, okay, I'll look for a continuation. But if we start to see some rejection, we have unfilled gaps below us, then I'll go ahead and look for a mech model. And that's exactly what I did today. Not only do we have this hourly gap right here and this 15-minute gap, but if you come over here, we swept out these hourly highs, and we also created an SMT with hourly highs. So we had a pretty decent like narrative headed towards our trade, and there was originally one setup that I didn't mind taking. Where was it? Because we ended up getting a resweep. Okay, there was a 30-second inside of here. I don't have the 30-second chart, but the 30-second was in between one of these candles, and we ended up, your stops would have been at the swing highs. If you would have took that 30-second, that's a super valid trade, even though you would have got stopped out by a fucking ball sack here. So the 30-second didn't work out, but it did at the same time. We then created a 5-minute bullish gap right underneath us as this candle was fluctuating. So I was like, okay, if we can do one of two things. If we come down, hit this 5-minute gap, get a resweep and a possible SMT of like these highs that were just created, then I can look for a 1-minute short. Or if we just strictly go ahead and inverse this 5-minute, I'll go ahead and enter off the 5-minute. My stops won't be at the swing highs because that would be a crazy stop loss, 55 points. And I just don't feel like doing that. So I'd rather go with the 43-point stop loss, and my TP1 or break-even point can be this unfilled 15-minute gap, and my TP2 can be this unfilled 5-minute, which ultimately I just went 1 TP at the 5-minute, and I just went break-even at the 15-minute because I just went in for 1 mini. And as you guys can see, not only did we have the SMT on the higher time frames, but we also had this 2-minute SMT as well. So we created a 2-minute fair value gap, and that was also part of the reason why my stops are right here, because I was like, okay, if we truly are going to go to this 5-minute, this 2-minute gap should get respected. And it did. We didn't even tap into it on NQ, but yes did. We created that small SMT, and then as you guys can see, we ended up shitting the bed. So from here, my accounts actually didn't copy trade. So we got the 10 a.m. open low, which is exactly what I wanted. I smacked TP on my 5X phase. So I made about $410 on each of those. And then I made $1,000, but on a singular eval. The other like 13 accounts I have didn't copy trade on Trade so I was then going to look for longs because, again, ultimately my take profit was, or my draw on liquidity for the day was these London highs up here. There wasn't really much else. Maybe like an unfilled gap somewhere, but we've just been extremely volatile lately, and it's really just like the market rips one way and it'll continue to rip that way. So I was actually surprised we got a pullback. We ended up getting a pullback, and then from here I was looking for longs out of the 5-minute, and we just really just didn't get anything. We ended up hitting our TP on this first trade, and I was like, okay, if we can start seeing some rejection from here, I would have took this 1-minute. If we got the 1-minute back towards like the 10 a.m. high and these internal highs up here, possibly even hold them to London, but we just didn't end up getting that, and we just ended up chopping around. So those were really the only 2 setups I've seen today. If you guys have any questions or seen something differently that I missed for whatever reason, go ahead and leave them in the comments. Code LoeGpa on Lucid Trades, it's like 45% off all in for a 50k account is $75. No activation fee. Free Discord is in the description. Appreciate you guys watching, and I'll catch y'all boys later today with a YouTube video.